Okie doke. Alrighty, so what we're going to go through tonight on the success framework relates to value proposition. Now, we have done sprinklings of this value creation, especially when we did the business model canvas. We started picking at value creation. But this part of the success framework is broken into two sections. The first part is really diving deep on who you as an individual and specifically what you create that is valuable for people. And then the second part of the session, we go to the value proposition canvas developed by Strategyzer and actually start filling out a couple of your value proposition canvases. And so then you have your business model, you have the value you create for people, and you have your value proposition canvas that helps you figure out which of your core customers and which of your the service you provide to the world that you care the most about and who you target that at. So it's a good session. I like this one. Nothing's changed around my purpose. I'm still here to serve you. I still know that, you know, the goal is to understand who you are, where you're going, and what you want to get out of your career. And no change, activities, reflection, and action. So far, we've completed values, purpose, vision, legacy, brand, business model. We did talk about going back to business model. That's something that I think everyone does on a regular basis, sort of an annual basis. And hopefully what you and others have created by the time they get to this moment is something like, you know, purpose to connect with people so that together we can learn, be better, and succeed, plus values, authenticity, pragmatism, courage, family, fortitude, principled learning, honesty, a vision to work daily with individuals to help grow their personal and business capability, people that have the entrepreneurial spirit, that love the hustle and creating value for others, have a strong legacy about what you're going to leave your family and your peers, have a brand promise, you know, something that commits you to helping people understand themselves or others so that they can achieve success they desire. So that's for me. A brand guarantee, like what is it that you as an individual guarantee the world? So for me is like I always do my best to serve you to the best of my ability, like every time. My secret is my diverse experience in business and personal development. And whatever your secret is, it's your thing. And then how does that relate to an elevator pitch that whenever you get the chance to talk to an executive, to talk to a potential customer, what is that thing you just rattle off that is your pitch about who you are? All of that has helped feed our business model canvas. So who do you partner with as an individual to make sure you can get the work you want and do the things you enjoy, what your value proposition is, and who your customer segments are. And then today, we're going to start looking at the underpinning stuff that lives in value proposition or value creation. Now, to do that, we look at a few different elements. Today, we're going to look at value creation, customer attributes, talk a little bit about products and services. And then in the next session, we'll look at jobs to be done, pains and pain relievers, gains and gain creators. And so that's where we get into the Strategyzer's value proposition canvas. And so I guess to define each element that we're about to go through. So value creation, these are the key activities for identifying the value you create for others right now. So what is it that you do as a human being to create value for other human beings? The analysis we're going to do is we're going to have a look at your career. We're going to look at the work you've done, the bosses, the peers, the customers. And by reflecting on those people and reflecting on who you've helped and who you've worked for, who you've served, we should be able to further answer who your core customer is, elaborating on your business model. The customer level you need to target. And so what I mean by that is based on who you are right now and the career you've got and everything you've created to date, using government as a framework, are you targeting APS, executive level, SES, so on and so forth? Are you targeting ministers? Are you targeting contractors? Are you targeting not-for-profits? What's the customer level of person? Are they exec, C-suite that you're targeting? The value you deliver so you can capitalize it. So really articulating the value you as an individual create and creating a space through your business model, value proposition, but also in your goals and how you're going to go about creating, getting the goals you set, capitalizing on the value you create. And this will obviously feed into more of your words and brand promise stuff. And so this analysis is some of my favorite analysis because it really gets into the nitty gritty of understanding who you as an individual and who you are, but the value you create for people. The first activity that we're going to do is a value creation activity. And what we're going to do is we're going to use either LinkedIn, your resume, your memory, and answer the question, who have you created value for? And so that might be an agency, it could be an individual, their level, the value you created, and any other context you need to capture. And the activity is simple, right? It's asking the question, who have I created for? Well, so for me, I can think of some work I did at a recent federal government agency. I can think of the person, Josh, he was a FAS, and I know that I did amazing work around stakeholder engagement and bringing a community of people together. And the key value was getting in stakeholder buy-in. And so that's an easy example of a memory I have about the value I created and their level. So we'll go through and we'll figure that out for you. Activity 2 is where we look at everything that you've noted. And from all the activities, we're going to answer a couple of questions. What's the value you've consistently delivered to your customers? And so you will have, through your analysis, figured out 3, 10, 20, 30 things that you might have done. But in those things, there'll be a theme. And so we want to know what you consistently deliver. We're then going to talk about problems and sort of look at the value you've created and the opposite side of it, which is what was the problem you've solved and the needs of those customers. And so these things, value plus problem needs, creates a strong underpinning knowledge of your value, but then also down the track, how you communicate that value. So when we talk about blogging or marketing or selling you as an individual as a service to businesses and your own company and whatever it is, it does a great job of feeding that sort of narrative. And so we'll come up with the value, the problems, and the needs that you've been solving. Activity 3, we'll draw the value you've delivered, problems you've solved, and needs you've fulfilled. And we'll capture it, we'll write it out, we'll figure out exactly what it was that you've pictured that represents this cycle of value, problem, and needs. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump into customer attributes because we want to know what are the similarities about your customers that you've helped. And this is going to help answer who are your future customers. Because if you can understand your current and past ones, you've got a really good idea about who you're likely to serve in the future. And so this is where we're going to further dive in on what level were my core customers, what role were they in, and what agency types did they belong to. And so agency could be advisory, it could be policy, it could be operational, it could be not-for-profit, it could be service industry, it could be retail, I don't know. And we'll bring that analysis together and basically answer exactly this. Who are the agencies? What was their context? What was the help I delivered? And what was the work? And that will give us some of the best data that you will have ever pulled into a single place around the value you've created, who you've consistently created it for, and what it was. The next parts to the story is understanding your products and services. And so we take some of what you've done in your business model canvas and figure out what these things are. This is something we'll do in the next session because this feeds directly into the value proposition canvas. We then figure out what are the jobs to be done. So what is it that your customers are trying to do? What are they trying to get done? What do they want? What's the outcome they need? Is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it status driven? Is it a product or service? And then we'll dive into pains, pain relievers, customer gains, gain creators, and complete the value proposition canvas. Because we're not going to do that today, I'm not going to deep dive on the why, what, and how there. But really where you'll end up is you'll end up with creating your own value proposition canvas for a couple of core customer segments. And so that might be, your number one customer that you've consistently served over the last 5 years might be directors delivering intranet uplift projects. And then you might do a second canvas for maybe it's C-suite members of not-for-profits, because that relates to a place you want to end up. And that'll help you understand their gains, their pains and jobs to be done, your gain creators, your pain relievers, and the services that relate. And then we'll pull all that together and you should be close to done with the what side of who you are and what you're here to do. And absolutely, I'll show you some examples of how you can visualize this stuff and appropriately reference the great work of Strategyzer and take you to some of their stuff. So they're the creators of the value proposition and business model canvas. Once we finish today's and next part of today's session, we'll then jump into understanding competition and crack on with the program. So that's it in a massive nutshell. What we are going to do in the activity session today, we're going to do your value creation, customer attributes, and then in the next part, we're going to jump into developing the value proposition canvas. And basically for the purpose of just capturing the recording and the why and the what we're going to do today, I'll wrap up recording. But what we're now going to do is jump in and do the actual work stuff that we get to do on these sessions.